In Washington, D.C., after the deployment of the National Guard, over the past 9-10 days, there have been exactly 0 murders in Washington, D.C. Crime is down, but that stat will take you back decades. The last time you've gone 10 days without a murder in Washington, D.C., you're going to be rewinding the clock decades. This has not set well with politicians on the left. This does not sit well with Democrats. Here is the governor of Maryland, Democrat, Wes Moore.
Every single major American city, particularly when many of the cities that have the highest crime rates are the places that have actually deployed their National Guards to Washington, D.C. So who's going to go do the work in their cities? The third, it's unconstitutional. It's a direct violation of the 10th Amendment. And for a party that talks about state rights, it's amazing how they're having such a big government approach in the way they're conducting public safety.
Interesting argument from Wes Moore. If you pull the National Guard out of the state from which they are situated and deploy them to Washington, D.C., what does that do for the potential for crime fighting in their home state? Are you suggesting, Governor Moore, that the National Guard should be deployed in Chicago? That it should be deployed in Los Angeles? No, I don't think so. He says it is unconstitutional. That is nothing compared to the mayor of Chicago, who says, Brandon Johnson, Democrat, this is tyranny.
The president has spent hundreds of millions of dollars to arrest 9 people in D.C. You know, that clearly he's demonstrated that he doesn't have a level of consciousness to understand what it takes to run cities, not to mention an entire country. And so, you know, look, we're going to remain firm. We'll take legal action. But the people in this city are accustomed to rising up against tyranny.
Is that a call for insurrection? The people of this city, Chicago, are used to rising up against tyranny. Brandon Johnson, like Wes Moore, seems to make a self-defeating argument in the span of 2 sentences. He says that President Donald Trump doesn't know what it's like to run a city, much less a country, and then calls running a country tyranny. Chicago, of course, is an experiment in failed governance. Chicago, like Los Angeles, has horrible, horrible city leadership. That's why Chicago is the murder capital of the United States when it comes to big urban centers. That's why Chicago is one of the most failed experiments in America. It's because of the incompetence of elected leaders like Brandon Johnson. But is this tyranny? More on the nose to the governor of Maryland, Wes Moore. Is this unconstitutional? That's the same question many are asking today, even those on the right, about President Trump's just announced ban on burning the American flag. Is that a violation of free speech? Is that unconstitutional? And at this point, we are hearing this not just from the left, but we are hearing this from the right. I will admit to you, I have grave concerns about outlawing the burning of the American flag. Obviously, that's not because I would endorse the burning of the American flag, but I find more important than the symbol itself the principle of free speech. That being said, President Donald Trump, I think, is driven by 2 motivations. Number 1, do something, get something done, productivity, improvement, the hallmarks and the characteristics of leadership. On the left, you get talk. Actually, you get more than talk. You get degradation. You have politicians like Zohran Mamdani, who is a democratic socialist. He is a communist, but officially labels himself a democratic socialist. The Democrat Socialist platform in New York City would basically decriminalize misdemeanors, put people on the streets, defund the police. This is a rewinding of the clock to 2020. Look at the platform underneath Zohran Mamdani and ask yourself about the future of New York City. It will be left to this viral video that is making its way around the internet this weekend. On the subway, a man standing there, a knife, a long blade by his side, threatening a skateboarder. Another man holding a longboard, skateboard, little longer dimensions. With every threatening step and every threatening lunge, the skateboarder seems to suggest verbally, I'm going to fight back. One last threatening step, and the skateboarder uses his longboard and absolutely spears the perp in the face, at which point he falls down and onto the tracks. Police quickly come and intervene. It's going to be left to vigilante justice. It'll be 1970s New York. But President Donald Trump's guiding light is to do something. The crime rate in D.C. is better. If he does something in Chicago, is there any doubt the crime rate will be better? Carjackings, by the way, are a massive problem in Chicago. Do you have any doubt that that will be improved? Reportedly, with all of these stops and all these arrests, the other thing that's being done in D.C. is a roundup of illegal immigrants. We're talking about the enforcement of the law. We're talking about doing something. But the other guiding light is he's putting people on the wrong side of 80-20 political issues. I mentioned that the outrage on both of these issues to do something about crime and burning the American flag is coming from the left, but it's also coming from the right. In some cases, principled opposition on the right. But the right has often been guided by the idea of conservatism, limited government, the Constitution. William F. Buckley, National Review. It is at times necessary to stand athwart history yelling stop. But what if yelling stop doesn't make anyone stop? What are you conserving with conservatism? Look at the last 50 years, look at the last 10 years, look at the last 5 years and ask yourself about the decline of America. And at some point you have to wonder if offense doesn't become the best defense. What will happen will be crime will improve in Chicago. Crime has improved in D.C. And that will be popular. There will be heady arguments about the Constitution, but it will be popular. I'm a big believer in little laboratories of democracy, federalism and the Constitution. And if the people of Chicago hate this, then let them kick them out. If the people of Chicago that want to live a civilized life hate that, let them vote with their feet. And that's what's happening. People from California are moving to Texas. People from New York are moving to Florida. Record numbers. But what about the poor people that can't move? Well, then they're left behind. Meaning Donald Trump's policies will be popular with those who are the poorest, those who are the victims of these crimes. Minorities, black people will find a better quality of life with the do something approach of Donald Trump. And on the burning of the American flag, I can tell you right now, I will guarantee you that within a couple of days, regardless of the implementation of this law, if lefties are burning the American flag from coast to coast, they just found themselves checkmated into not an 80-20 proposition, but a 595 proposition. Donald Trump is playing chess, and he is doing something. Number 2, off the weekend, Snoop Dogg says it's finally hitting home. He took his grandchild to see Lightyear, the Buzz Lightyear movie. And here's what he had to say about his experience.
So we watching it, and the lady, which is Kiki's mama, they move on into the space years. They move down the line. They're like, man, she had a baby with a woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. Oh, I didn't come in for this. I just came to watch the goddamn movie. Hey, man, watch the movie. They just said she had a baby. They both women's. How did she have a baby? Shh. The movie ain't over with. So it's like, I'm scared to go to the movies now. Like, y'all throwing me in the middle of it that I don't have an answer for.
Oh, Snoop, but it was all coming, man. I'm sorry it's hit you in the face, but you helped this out-of-control issue start spinning. It was just a couple of years ago, Snoop, if we can walk down memory lane together, when I was on First Take talking about getting rid of the name Washington Redskins and why it wasn't popular among Indians. And then you said this on social media.
This need to be off the air. You a creep, man. You weirdo. Stephen A., get rid of this mother right here. Fucking devil.
That's me, the devil, for suggesting we should get rid, or we should rather keep, the name Washington Redskins, now an issue that Donald Trump is pushing forward. It looks like Snoop and I should revisit our conversation. Because what I would tell Snoop is, hey, man, I know slippery slope and maybe discernment and judgment step in the way of society slowly or quickly sliding to hell in a handbasket. But when you play the game of Victimhood Olympics. When you play the game of the ultimate ace of spades in every deck is who is the oppressed, it's going to end up back at the movies with you explaining to your grandchild how two women can have a baby. This is how it works, man. Best to just go ahead and look at each issue with your thinking cap on and use some common sense. Otherwise, you wake up in the dark, a big screen in front of you, two women having a baby, watching Lightyear. Hey, it's Will Cain Country. Don't forget to hit like or subscribe for the hottest takes in news, politics, sports, and culture.